Well, hello, Young and the Restless Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Thursday, September the 14th, 2023. Thursday, September the 14th. Okay, well, of course, of absolute course, we've got Tucker and Audra, but I'm going to get to them a little bit later. I want to start with Lucy. See, Lucy's going to be on a mission, everybody. And that mission's going to be to get her parents back together again. See, now she really liked Lily, but she really liked Lily when her mother was with Christopher. See, because Heather was pretending to be happy, right? Or not even pretending to be happy. She said things just went a little sideways when he's talking about wanting to have kids. And let's face it, time wise, Heather's in her late 30s. Yeah. Okay. With a teenage daughter. So that's something I'm happy you brought it up now, mister, because that's a hard pass for me. And since it's a hard pass for me, I got to boot. I got to get to stepping, right? So, yeah, there is no, I'll think about it. That is a no. Period. So you go ahead and get yourself somebody 10 years younger than me. So anyway, Daniel brought up, he goes, you know what, you're old enough for us to have these real frank conversations. Your mother told me, or he said, you're not thinking about me and your mom getting back together again. And she looked at him, she goes, did mom talk to you? He said, yes. So she's like, well, look, she kind of him-hawed around it. And he said, I'm with Lily now. And she says, I like Lily. But look, can we just say say hypothetically you weren't with Lily. You weren't with anybody. Would you want to get back with mom and have us be a family again? And he goes, but that's not reality, Lucy. So why would I talk hypothetical when that's not the case? I am with Lily and we're a family anyway. Period. We are a family, and me and your mom are in a good place right now. He's like, I can't hope for more. Or so then she goes, she tried to pressure him again. And then he said, well, look, if there were no one in the picture, then I don't know, probably. And she just looked, because see, that's all she needed to hear. Because she goes, don't worry, Dad. I'm not going all parent trap on you. And I thought, yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Parent trap it up. Because quite frankly, Heather is making it known, not overtly, but undercover. She's throwing out feelers Daniel's way. And I could understand that. I mean, relationships go wrong. The person you've been married to for years, like Daniel went just down a complete alcoholic rabbit hole. And, there was just no living with him. He was abusive. The man you were with for years is just, you don't know who this man is over there on the couch. Right? But now that he's gotten himself cleaned up, and now that he's worked on himself, but the funny thing is, you notice he still drinks and early. So to me, Daniel hasn't really faced the problem head on. Okay. Because Daniel, you always see him with a drink. I'm surprised what's in his hand right now is tea. Okay. So, but anyway, you could see Heather, when you're looking at the man that you loved and loved for years, and now you see that man in front of you again and doing better, you do a double take. I mean, it's almost what Lily and Daniel were doing, except they were teenagers. It's like Lily said, we were two different people back then. That was 20 years ago, so, but 20 years ago, and it was brief in the span of life. The marriage only lasted a year before Drew and Neil had get it annulled. Yes, they were probably together a year before, probably grand total of 2 years of their teenage years that they were together. Heather and Daniel been together for what, 13, 14? There's a difference. And they share Lucy, even though it's not Lucy's not Heather's. But, motherhood is not always DNA, right? So we'll see where we'll see. I already know where they're going with that. So Phyllis is talking to Heather. They had a good lunch. And it was wrapping up. And Heather said, I want to thank you, Phyllis, for inviting me to lunch. This was really nice. And she goes, of course, Phyllis being Phyllis. And Heather said, and I want to thank you for reframing or restraining yourself. And Phyllis looks at her like, what do you mean? She goes, you didn't once bring up Daniel and I getting back together again. And Phyllis said, I was going to bring that up, but look, but you sure did, didn't you? See, Heather, this was how, that's a good little attorney, right? You know how you want to lead the witness down a path? So she just says, I want to thank you for not mentioning me and Daniel getting back together again and how great our family would be and the sparks that you still see between us. She didn't say all that. I made that part up. But yeah, that's really what Heather was doing. So Phyllis is like, no. Okay, I know Daniel's with Lily, and I will do nothing to interfere with that relationship, although I don't think Lily is right for him. They have too much history with each other. And so, no. Heather engineered that response. Heather says, she goes, no, Daniel's with Lily. So Heather says, speaking of Daniel and Lily, how serious do you think that relationship is? Oh, this coming from a woman that's not interested in her. If I'm not mistaken, they're still married. Does anybody remember if Heather sent divorce? I kind of think so. I kind of think Daniel was devastated by some divorce papers being given to him. He was staying at the Grand Phoenix after Heather left that first time, right? I kind of think so. Anybody in Daily Recap land, comment corner, let me know. Did Daniel and Heather, are they divorced? I cannot remember that, right? And so Phyllis, that's when Phyllis said, well, it's pretty serious. However, that's what we talked about the history and blah, blah, blah. And so Heather says, well, I mean, Daniel and I have a long history together too. And it sure didn't work out. And so Phyllis says, yeah, but the difference is it didn't work out because of my son. Daniel screwed up. Your family broke apart because of Daniel's actions, not because of anything you did. And now my son has gotten himself on the right track. So, let's put it out there. And so she goes, but you know what, Heather, is that something you would want? And Heather just looked at Phyllis and really didn't answer, right? So Heather meets Daniel and Lucy at the park, and she says, Lucy, I just got a call from my job. We have to head back to Portugal. We got to catch a plane in a matter of hours. And she's like, why? She goes, well, because there's this big trial coming up, and they're having all the attorneys come in for a big meeting regarding the trial. Plus, I need to go and if we're truly coming back to the States, I need to inform the firm and make arrangements. So we have to get there, right? So Lucy's like, okay. She was cool with it because Lucy's happy. Like, look, we either way, I already know we coming back to the States. So okay, let's go. So, everybody kind of hugs goodbye. James says, I'll see you later. And then we have these two back where they were in the beginning. Audra does not care. And Tucker was talking about something, and Audra made a joke about him being like a 5-minute man. Because he goes, yeah, I know this brings back old times and blah, blah, blah. She looked at him. She says, yeah, you were saying all of 5 minutes ago that she said a conversation. And he looked at her like, wait. But he didn't want to, he goes, I didn't hear you complaining. And she's like, he goes, yeah, but you got that young Kyle Abbott and you had to come back to something more mature. And she's like, she didn't even comment on that. Like, nah, Kyle Abbott, right now he got the jump on you, old man. Possibly, I don't know, but Kyle was a passion thing. Tucker is a friend thing. And Audra, and I don't even know if it's a friend thing. Audra's the kind, she will sleep with you to get the information. Because immediately after, she's sitting there, all she was doing is, so, about you and Ashley, what really happened? I know you don't want to talk about it. But, then she went right on in, asking questions. And she goes, do you have a plan? Plan against Jabot, maybe? He goes, possibly. Need to know basis. So she says, okay. Well, what with this plan? And she just kept on, just like, you're going to tell me anyway. So the way Tucker ended up pretty much not telling her his plan, but yes, he has a plan. And he said, you want to work together again like old times? And she looked at him because, see, she's not that happy at Newman. She goes, it all depends what's in it for me. He goes, would you have a problem me taking your boy Toy's family's company away from them? She said, depending on what's in it for me. Because see, she will want to run it. Well, guess what? She's not qualified to run Jabot. She's not. A whole company like that. In cosmetics. No. So he said, no, there'll be definitely something in it for you, but I haven't truly decided. I have not decided on exactly what I'm going to do. So now we've got the Abbotts running around. We've got Abby over it. Oh, I'm so tired of Abby. I don't know what to do. Right? And Tucker's up to something. I know he'll be up to something. Oh, they can't eat right without thinking Tucker's up to something. He's got to be up to something, right? And Tracy is trying to calm him down. Tracy's saying, look, guys, we don't know what he's up to. Why are we jumping to like the worst case scenario? We don't know. And so she tries to calm things down, and then she's hearing this Pam, but what Billy is saying, and she's like, oh no, I don't like the way that sounded. Wait, first let's talk to Ashley. She will reach out to us. Let's talk to her first. But everybody don't want to listen to Tucker because Tracy, because she's sane. So that was that. And then we have Daniel calls Lily, texts her to come over. So she comes over, and now her pregnancy is really progressing because we only see her from neck up. We got little portraits of Lily, right? But I'm happy. I'm happy her pregnancy's going well. So she goes, okay, I got your text. What's going on? And then, of course, he starts kissing her. She goes, oh, okay. And of course, they end up in the sack like really quick. And after it was all said and done, they're talking. And he was saying that, he feels his mother starting to meddle and, get about the family getting back together, him and Heather. And Lucy says, well, let me ask you something. Is that what you want? Do you think that's what you want? I mean, because I want to know. And he says, I like what we have. And she says, and I think that's just my mother meddling. And Lucy says, I mean, not Lucy, Lily says, no, I kind of think there's something to it. I kind of think Heather would like you back because there's just something every time I see her. There's something in the anxiousness or the vibe that I'm getting from her. She goes, I do think she does want to get back with you. And that's going to be something you will have to, really think about, make up your mind and deal with it. She said, because I like what we have too, but I'm also realistic. So I don't know, probably a way for Lily to exit on maternity leave is Daniel and Heather getting back together again. Lily may need to go away, clear her head for a while, because there's always got to be an exit strategy for women to go have their maternity leave, just like the actress playing Chelsea is on hers. So that's how that goes. But anyway, not too much really happened at all. So I'll be back tomorrow for another daily recap of The Young and the Restless.